Hi everyone. In today's video we're going to be discussing the new horror film from Eli Roth, Thanksgiving. So right off the bat I'm going to say that I truly enjoyed this film. I thought it was a very good representation of Eli Roth's style. I mean, this is coming from the man who brought us Hostel and movies like The Green Inferno, so there is no shortage of gore. If anything, I would say that this film tries to really go over the top with the gore, and that's kind of like nothing new from a torture porn director. And if you've ever seen Hostel, you know that the gore there is very, very, very intense. But this is tame compared to that. And I would say there's no shortage of creative kills. I mean, it reminds me of the 80s with the way that some of these characters die. Some of these characters really do get it in ways that are very unrealistic, but suspension of disbelief really comes into play with a lot of this film. So what is this film about? Well, after a Black Friday incident that kills multiple people, a group of friends find themselves hunted by a serial killer that seemingly wants revenge for the whole ordeal 1 year later. So I'm not going to say anything more than that because I really want you to watch the film without giving it away, and this is a spoiler-free commentary, but yeah. So this is a slasher that has to deal with a lot of commentary on Black Friday, a lot of commentary on capitalism. So this film has a lot of thinking that comes with it. And what I mean by that is that this isn't a horror movie that does not have a theme. This isn't just some senseless killer who's killing because it's Thanksgiving and he wants to have somebody to eat. No, this killer is very justified in what he's doing. And I feel like the theme behind it all really has multiple angles that you could take it from being angry at elitists who get special privileges to being angry at society who act like animals for just a small sale of 25% off or 30% off of TV. Very real things to really commentate on come from this film, although it's really got sort of this 80s slasher caricature put to it and this face of a horror film. But you have to really look beyond that to see that this film is essentially a commentary on consumerism. So the film does get brownie points from me for that, because not a lot of horror films actually see what their themes are and try and play to their strengths, especially a film that's kind of taking itself in the funny direction, doesn't really take itself too seriously. It knows that it's a horror film. It knows that it is a slasher competing with other slashers. So this film is very aware of itself. It's very aware of the message that it's trying to put out there. So don't expect it to be a super deep message. I mean, it's a slasher first and foremost, but ultimately it isn't just a slasher that's a slasher to be torture porn. This is a movie with a message. I also give the film props for being a very good mystery and a whodunit, because you have to really pay attention in this film. And that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about it. I think that the film knows that the audience is trying to guess who the killer is. So with that in mind, there are pieces of dialogue, pieces of things on scene that you should pay attention to, because it is a part of the fun of trying to figure out who the killer is before the big reveal. And this film really plays to that, and it's so it just has a very good whodunit vibe with a lot of likely and justifiable suspects. So it's very hard to tell who the killer is. There are a lot of red herrings there. So it's a fun film that makes you think while you're watching it, while you're seeing people get gutted and beat up and gored out, and you're still trying to figure out who's doing this, who's committing all of these crimes. So big plus from the film for that. It really reminds me of Scream, the way that the film plays out. I mean, with the slasher aspect to it, it really harkens back to Scream and the mass killer. There are some comedic elements to the film as well. I give props to Eli Roth's dialogue because, I mean, for all the profanity that's being said, the way that it's delivered is very hilarious. And in some instances, you might find yourself either raising an eyebrow, smirking, or smiling, or even full out laughing the way that it's delivered. So I give it credit. So this is definitely a holiday film for the horror fans, for the people that like to see the gore, that like to see the pain. And another thing is that this film really does create a whole new horror villain. We have Ghostface, we have Leatherface, we have Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, and now we have John Carver, a new horror villain brought to life in 2023. So props to the film for making me actually really like this new character, this person, but I'm still kind of convinced that it was a one and done, because I'm kind of questioning how they're going to bring him back for the sequel, especially with the big reveal. So overall, the film isn't as scary as much as it is gory. There are a few jump scares sprinkled throughout, but I'll definitely be getting sleep tonight. But overall, the film is a fun watch that'll keep you guessing. Do you enjoy scary stories? Check out our podcast, The Blue Porch Presents, where we upload original horror stories monthly. These are original stories independently produced by The Blue Porch, and you can get a physical copy online on Amazon Kindle. Support The Blue Porch by getting yourself a physical or digital copy of all of our stories for as little as $2.99, and be on the lookout for new releases in the future. Thank you.